Good morning, environmental science class. This is Isaac Bacon, and this is my ethogram over the smooth dogfish shark. So to start, we'll start with the easiest question: what is a dogfish shark? The typical image that comes to mind when you picture a shark is something that looks like this. That's not the whole picture. Of the 300 known species of shark, only 11 are recorded ever attacking a human. One of the species that isn't is the smooth dogfish shark, a few of which can be found at the Indianapolis Zoo. But obviously, Indiana is not the native habitat of any shark species. Smooth dogfish sharks can typically be found around ocean floors in the Atlantic Ocean, heading south around the Carolinas and Florida in winter, and north around Canada and New England in summer. They have, however, been found in waters from the Gulf of Mexico all the way down to Brazil. They mostly eat smaller marine life such as crabs, squid, worms, and they sometimes even eat garbage. Look at these little guys. Look at them. Look at them. They're like little puppies, but with fins and lots of teeth. Unlike land animals, sharks have to keep moving to stay alive. If they stop moving, water stops flowing through their gills and they can suffocate. Because of this, it can be hard to measure behavior in sharks. However, being inspired by shark experts like Rodney Fox, I tested these sharks' behavior while my left hand was dipped in water. This gave the sharks something to react to and interact with. While it may seem somewhat unscientific, were I not to give the shark something to react to, the 30 minutes would have been nothing but the shark swam this way. Having the sharks interact with my hand gave me a method to witness their reaction to something and get a good gauge on what sharks are like as predators. I tested 3 methods of shark behavior when studying something that they can't identify. Sharks will swim by something simply to see if it reacts to their presence. Sharks will also sharply turn away from something because they'd rather wait for their next meal than confront a serious threat. Larger sharks may bite something to see what it is, since they can't grab things like we can. Smaller sharks like dogfish, however, will likely bump into it or rub alongside it. This can be dangerous if the unidentified object is a threat, so this is usually a last resort before testing the taste of something. As you can see by this graph, the sharks swam away from my hand most at first, coming up to my hand and like, I don't know what you are, so I'm going to try and get away. As time went on, they started to swim by it pretty consistently, like, okay, I feel a little bit safer, but I'm still not going to try and interact with it. And then towards the end of that 30-minute period, they were so curious and confident that they actually started to bump into or brush up against my hand a little bit more in an attempt to find out what my hand was. Dogfish sharks are not the threat that larger sharks are, like the tiger shark or the bull shark. They must be more cautious than these larger species when approaching something they aren't sure of. This is reflected in these tests. The sharks saw my hand and their first reaction was to swim up to see, but turn away before they got close. As time went on and I didn't move, they got more curious and started to swim by my hand, even circling it for a closer look. By the 30-minute mark, a few sharks had swam directly underneath my hand, and a few even brushed up against it. To me, this says that the sharks gradually began to identify my hand as something that wasn't a threat and began to try and figure out exactly what I was. The general conclusions I can take away from this test is that sharks are animals. They are not mindless killing machines. This test proved that. Like us, they want to eat, but do not get into trouble if it can be avoided. If anything, sharks have more to fear from us than us from them. In 2019, 5 people were killed worldwide in shark attacks. That same year, over 100 million sharks were caught, finned, and left to drown in the ocean, being unable to swim. Sharks are not only the apex predators of the ocean, they are vital for the survival of the planet. Sharks eat much of the garbage dumped into the ocean, and most of their diet includes dead animals that would otherwise disease and pollute the ocean. We have an unnecessary fear of sharks, mostly due to their scary appearance, their status as predators, and portrayal in media such as the classic film Jaws. Yes, they are dangerous animals, and we shouldn't get cuddly with them, but sharks are simply another part of Earth's ecosystem. They hunt animals to eat, but so do we. Sharks don't systematically slaughter humans the way we do them, and frankly, we do to each other. In the future, I hope we can appreciate sharks for the beautiful creatures they are, and do our best to keep them from being wiped out. Thank you for listening to my shark ethogram. I'll leave you with a Peter Benchley quote about sharks, the man who wrote the book Jaws, which caused the world to be terrified of these creatures. He later became a biologist and a conservationist for the preservation of sharks because he saw what they brought to the world and regretted the fact that he made humans so afraid of them. Sharks are not only apex predators of the ocean, they are vital for the survival of the planet. Sharks eat much of the garbage dumped into the ocean, and most of their diet includes dead animals that would...
Guess who gets your license tomorrow?